Hiya, I'm Alex. I'm 21 years old. I run a couple of businesses doing over 6 figures a year turnover. And I want to talk about why I think that when you're a teenager, it's worth getting like a normal job. By a normal job, I mean like some kind of manual labor job, like whether that be bartending or working a takeaway like I did, or I don't know, mowing lawns. I did that as well. I did a lot of stuff when I was a teenager. But I think that for a lot of teenagers who are aspiring to become entrepreneurs and have online businesses, whether that be, I don't know, having a YouTube channel, I do that as well, not this, but I have a different YouTube channel, whether that be, I don't know, agency or something, doesn't matter. If you're a young teenager, or I mean even younger kind of, but probably a teenager, I think it's worth getting a normal job. And why? Well, like I said, I've had a lot of jobs. One that really drove home the idea to me of having an online business was when I was working at a takeaway. It was like a kebab pizza place, right? And I got on really well with the boss there. It was actually kind of fun. I was getting paid £4.50 an hour. And this was only a few years ago. Like, it was technically below minimum wage, actually. Got myself a cheeky 50p raise to £5 an hour after a little bit though, because I was the only competent one there. Anyway, what it made me realize was I don't want to do this, right? I think that it gave me something to run away from. So when you're like starting any kind of business, right? There's the like commonly held idea that I think it's like what 90% of businesses fail within the first 5 years. It's something like that. My business has been going for just over 5 years now, actually, and I'm still very much in business, which is great. And so obviously you have like the idea that yes, I want to have a business of my own so I can work for myself, so I can make a lot of money, and I'd love to be a digital nomad or something. I don't know what your aspirations are, right? Everyone's going to be different. For me, it's I want to have loads of money so that I can get married and have a family at a young age and not be, oh my god, the light, man. No, that's not better. Apologies. So that I can have a family and get married young and kind of fulfill my dream of being a father, right? To me, that's my motivation. Regardless of what your motivation is, you have something to run towards, right? However, in the human psyche, it's far more motivational and it drives far more action if you're running away from something and running towards something. But if you could choose one or the other, it would be running away from something, right? Like, it's essentially survival instinct kicking in. So yeah, like if you do have some kind of job that isn't that good, you don't really get paid all that much, it's kind of terrible, the customer service sucks, there's people angry at you all the time, like I'd be having to explain mistakes that my co-workers had made or my boss had made even that had nothing to do with me. I was a pretty good employee. I didn't do a whole lot wrong, and yet I was having to like calm these customers down, and it sucked. I got paid nothing for it as well, like £4.50 an hour. That's not a lot of money. So what I realized is, okay, I do not want to do this ever again, right? So what did it make me do? Well, at the time, I had an online business. I'd had many before that, sort of like freelance type stuff when I was like 13 to 16. And then when I was 16, I started like my first real sort of business. And I was just like, well, I'm making a lot more than $4.50 an hour doing that than working here. And it's way more fun, right? So I have the motivation of, okay, I want to make a lot of money because I want to have a family and I want to get married and I want to be financially stable. That's hard to do in these days, especially in the UK where I live. And I don't want to do this. That's the bigger that's the bigger fear, right? Is that I don't want to work in some takeaway in my 20s or even in my 30s. I don't want to do it. There's a lot to be said for working service-based jobs, right? Like the social interaction, all that. I get it. But for me, it was really useful because it gave me something to run away from, right? And it means that when I've been pursuing online business, if I don't see progress or things are stagnating, or I'm like, oh, this is really difficult, I'm working literally 12 to 14 hours a day on this is a lot, and I'm losing the motivation, like the forward motivation, right? Well, that's okay, because I have the motivation that is like pushing me, not pulling me towards the goal, but pushing me away from the thing that I fear, which is the kind of service-based typical job that every teenager or even 20-year-old at a university has, right? So I do think it's incredibly useful to get yourself, like, if you're a teenager right now, even if you've got an online business thing going and maybe it's only just starting up, and if you've never had like a real job before, like a manual labor type job, it's worth doing. I really do think that it's worth doing.